mama. Amuyegele mama. Amuyegele mama. Amuyegele mama. Abasazi basifunde pepeni. Abasazi basifunde pepeni. Abasazi basizwa yendaba. Abasazi basizwa yendaba.
Pansi Zionism, Pansi. Pansi Zionism, Pansi. Pambili with the Palestinian Liberation Organization, Pambili. Pambili with the Palestinian struggle, Pambili. Pambili with Kosatu, Pambili. Comrades, I'm here from BDS, and basically I'm here to outline the demands that we are making upon the South African government. But comrades, maybe just before I get there, I want to mention just two things. The one is for us to understand what is happening in the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is a piece of land 11 kilometers wide, 40 kilometers long. That's the distance from here to Johannesburg. It's completely closed off, the land, the sea, as well as the air. Israel doesn't allow any planes to fly over the Gaza Strip, except its own fighter planes. And what it does is that it flies its fighter planes at a very low altitude on a continuous basis, breaking the sound barrier, traumatizing children, traumatizing Palestinians on a daily basis. The Gaza Strip is completely sealed off from the rest of the world. It's the world's largest open-air prison, as Noam Chomsky, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and several others have suggested and proposed. The Gaza Strip has 1.5 million people, 2/3 of whom are people that were kicked out of Israel, kicked out of Palestine, in order to create the state of Israel. These are people that can literally see their homes on the other side, but they're not allowed to return. It makes this the largest, the most densely populated piece of land on this earth. The fact that Israel is bombing the Gaza Strip, bombing this open-air prison, makes it all the more horrendous. Comrades, over 100 Palestinians have been killed in 2 days. From Wednesday to now, at least a half of us have gone due to Israeli bombing. Over 20 Palestinian children under the age of 16 years old have had their limbs blown off, have had their hearts bled, and have died due to Israel's bombing of the Gaza Strip. This is a human tragedy that brings us here today. This is a solidarity that we are expressing. During the height of apartheid, we didn't have fighter planes flying into township or other areas, bombing people indiscriminately, sealing off areas so that you can't escape. So these are the people that we're lending our solidarity to. And in that, comrades, one of the first things that we must do is affirm the right of every Palestinian to resist the attacks upon them. This is under international law, this is a right that every Palestinian has. What else must they do? So comrades, firstly, we affirm the right of the Palestinian people to defend themselves. But secondly, comrades, we call upon the South African government, and we are asking them nicely, because it's our government, but we are going to increase the pressure, comrades, that the South African government must not only expel the Israeli ambassador, but must permanently bar him access to come back to this country. Arthur Lenk must go. Secondly, comrades, what is the South African ambassador, an ANC cadre, doing in Tel Aviv? This is a country, comrades, that had one of the worst forms of xenophobic attacks against African people in the last decade, where Israel injected African women coming through as refugees, injected them without their consent with birth control. Such an aggressive birth control that has left 50% of African women that were injected permanently unable to give birth. This is the kind of xenophobia that Israel has, that a member of parliament called African people a cancer. This member of parliament later on apologized, not to Africans, but to cancer victims, saying that we can't even compare cancer victims to Africans. So what is our South African ambassador doing in Tel Aviv? He must come back home. He'll be safe over here. There's no reason for him to be in Tel Aviv. Thirdly, comrades, the third demand that we're making upon our government is that a full and complete military embargo is immediately imposed on the state of Israel. This is an embargo not only which the Palestinian people have called for, but also Amnesty International has backed. Fourthly, comrades, in the last 2 weeks, more than 17 European Union countries have adopted warnings to businesses. They've issued guidelines to all businesses in these countries, warning them not to do business with Israeli settlements, with Israeli companies involved in the settlements, or with international companies involved in the occupied Palestinian territories. It's about time that the South African government issues a similar warning.
Yes.
But finally, comrades, our demand is that the South African government, not out of malicious intent, but out of a constructive spirit, imposes broad-based boycott, divestments and sanctions against the state of Israel in order that we hold Israel accountable and we show Israel that there is a price to pay. We know that the international isolation collapsed or assisted in collapsing the apartheid government in this country. The boycott against Israel, we are calling on our government to impose, because the liberation of the Palestinian people is the liberation of Israelis as well. The liberation of the Palestinian people is the liberation of Zionists as well. The liberation of the Palestinian people is the liberation of Jewish people who subscribe to Zionism. And ours, comrade, and this is where I'll end off, ours and our issue is not with the Jewish community, in fact. It's with those members of the Jewish community and others that believe in Zionism. We have many Jewish comrades within our ranks. Comrades Joe Slovo, Comrade Ronnie Kessler, Comrade Ben Churok, many comrades within our movement, several Jewish comrades that are here today that are insisting not in my name. And likewise, comrades, in our solidarity with the Palestinian people, we reject as a BDS movement all forms of racism, Zionism and anti-Semitism. Amandla!